Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and I finally saw Akira. Back in March of last year, wow, it's a good thing to say last year. I started up a series called I Finally Saw, and at that time I had seen the movie Goodfellas for the first time and wanted to talk about it. But it wasn't a new release, and I tried to find a creative excuse to talk about it. I only did one episode of the series because, well, the AFI project kicked in due to the virus and just a lot of things happened that I really didn't have control over. But now it is a new year, and this time around I wanted to revamp this series to be bigger and badder than the last. The premise is pretty simple. I see a movie that's really famous and a lot of people have seen and talk about it. It's where it begins and ends. And with all that out of the way, well, I finally saw Akira. This movie was directed by, I'm going to try and get this name right, Katsuhiro Otomo. I hope I said that right. And this is based on the manga of the same name. A secret military project endangers Neo-Tokyo when it turns a biker gang member into a rampaging psychic psychopath who can only be stopped by two teenagers and a group of psychics. I just read that plot from IMDb because, quite frankly, that's about as best as I can describe the plot of this movie. I first heard about Akira in about mid-2017. This was in my big phase of watching Collider Movie Talk or the John Campea show literally every day. And one of the big talking points around then was an Akira live-action remake that was supposed to be directed by Jordan Peele. That remake is no longer happening from what is the latest that I've read. But ever since then, I have always wanted to watch this movie, but because of other circumstances, I haven't been able to. Well, now I have, and in the words of Barf from Spaceballs, what the hell was that? Firstly, before anyone rushes to conclusions, let me just say that I really enjoyed this movie. I think it has more than earned its status as a classic and one of the best movies that Japan has ever made. But, well, there is a lot to unpack with this movie, and I'm not 100% sure that I'm capable of doing that. Firstly, though, I want to talk about the animation, because the animation in this movie is just gorgeous. I am a sucker for hand-drawn animation. I feel it has become a lost art, unfortunately, because, well, most animated movies nowadays are CGI. Not that there's anything wrong with a CGI animated movie, not by any stretch. I love Pixar, and their entire output is CGI animation. But I think it stems from me watching endless marathons of Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry that really just got it into my head that hand-drawn was a superior model. I hope hand-drawn animation makes some form of a comeback, but for now, let's just take a moment to appreciate what we have, especially Akira, because the animation in this movie is smack-dab gorgeous. Neo-Tokyo, if I had to compare it to something, it would be a combination of the big city from 1927's Metropolis and Los Angeles from Blade Runner. Ironically enough, Blade Runner and Akira take place in the same year. Coincidence? Possibly. But the advertisements for stuff like Canon and Fujifilm and Dunlop mixed in with the squalor of Neo-Tokyo just immersed me. From what I was able to research, this movie was a heavy inspiration for the cyberpunk movement that's been happening. And I can definitely see why. I also quite enjoyed the characters. About the first half of this movie feels to me like that movie The Warriors, in that street gangs are facing off each other and they ride on motorcycles. The first half of this movie is great stuff, especially, like I said, the animation, because, wow, this is one of the more gory animated movies that I've ever seen. When someone gets shot in this movie, it's a bloodbath. And I also really enjoyed the relationship between Kaneda and Tetsuya. They feel like teenagers, but they don't exactly talk like teenagers. The movie doesn't really feel dated or anything. But, and I'm going to try and be as spoiler-free as possible because there might be some of you who have not seen this movie. But let's just say that at a certain point, the movie takes a hard left. going from something like The Warriors to, well, Blade Runner again. Not necessarily in terms of action, but in terms of, I want to say, the way the story is told. But again, no spoilers, but after Tetsuyo gets into a motorcycle wreck, he slowly starts to gain sorta psychic powers. And I had the feeling that by the end, the movie was trying to suggest that Tetsuyo has crossed over to, I want to say, another plane of existence? Again, I am spitballing here because the last 20 minutes of this movie, I was just sitting there like, what the hell is going on? But in the best way possible. And I feel like at the end of the day, I think this movie is going to be with me for a very long time. I definitely want to revisit it somewhere in the future, and hopefully I can get a better grasp of what the movie is trying to say. But do I recommend you check out this movie? Absolutely. Even if you don't get into the story, it is a visual treat. And now, whenever I see Artemis driving the Akira bike in Ready Player One, I now have the context for it. But that is all for me, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Coming up this week is going to be, I'm going to be picking up the AFI project again. And on Monday, I'll be dropping my video for MASH. And then on Wednesday, it'll be one of my all-time favorite movies, North by Northwest. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way, when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.